Sorry. Okay. Can you hear me now, Katerina? Yeah, let me know if on YouTube you can hear me. Your personality is what makes you you. So therefore, you cannot change your personality. Imagine, Steve Jobs is a perfectionist, right? Like the reason why Apple products are the way it is because Steve Jobs is a perfectionist. Okay? Imagine like people are like, "Oh, imagine all these like motivational speakers, these fucking business gurus who are like, oh, Steve Jobs, no, don't be a perfectionist. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Don't be such a perfectionist. Just done is better than perfect. Imagine Steve Jobs took the advice of done is better than perfect. Do you think Apple would be where it's at? Like you can't. That's what I mean. Like you can't. If that is your personality and that is your flaw, you can't change it, because if you change it, like Steve Jobs would have never created Apple the way it is now. So you can't just go around changing your personality. Okay, let's go through these questions. Number one, Rob asked, my weakness is overcommitting. Want to help everyone with their project, putting my own project last. Okay, so there you go. That's kind of like, when you overcommit, what happens is, this is the thing. The reason why you're overcommitting is because you just want to do the best work. You don't want to just do half-ass work. You're over passionate, right? So I'm like that too. I'm over passionate. So if somebody says, "Hey, let's do this project, and let's do this, and I get so excited, I'm like, "No, we should also do this. We should do this. We should do this, and we should just blow it out of the park, and we should make it amazing," right? And then I'm over promising. I'm over promising the client. But here's the thing, right? That same personality that makes you over promise and over deliver is the reason why you're good at what you do, right? Because you don't want to just do anything half-assed. You don't want to just push out mediocre shit. You want to actually push out good product, good quality product, and that's the reason why you're doing that, right? So if you told yourself like, oh, I'm not gonna overpromise from now on. I'm gonna limit myself, and I'm gonna make myself not as excited. I'm gonna make myself less passionate about this, and I'm gonna make myself mediocre so that I don't overpromise. Then what's gonna happen? Or like, so I don't overcome it. Then what's gonna happen? You're basically becoming lukewarm. What makes you good is that you get excited about projects, you get passionate about projects, and you want to do an amazing job. That's what makes you good, right? So now this is what makes you good. But the downside of that is you're also overcommitting and overpromising, right? So by trying to change your personality, be like, oh, I'll just do it. I'll just do the bare minimum. I'll just be mediocre. Then what happens is you end up right in the middle, just like every fucking body else. You're just gonna end up right in the middle. You're gonna be mediocre. You're gonna be your website's gonna be boring. Everything that you do is just gonna be mediocre and boring and half-assed like everybody else. Just get it done, right? So now you've literally killed your biggest strength. Okay? So what you need to do is not to change your personality, but what you have to do is you have to be like, this is you, and this is somebody who's opposite of. This is the kind of person that doesn't give a fuck how good the quality of the product is. They're just gonna push it out. My job is to just push it, just get it done. Just go through the checklist and just mediocre, done. You're actually trying to do a good job, right? You're not about like just done or not done. You're actually trying to do, and this is the other person, right? Now, if you keep changing your personality to this way, you just become like everybody else, right? So how do you fix that? Stay like the way you are, but don't manage your own projects. Because every time you manage your own projects, you're going to go in front of the client and you're going to be like, oh, let's do this too. Oh, let's add this. Let's add this. Let's add this. Like, you're going to do that, right? So you need somebody to hold you back. Do you understand what I mean? So it's kind of like this, right? You ever see a fight where some guys like, some guys like all fucking pissed off and he's like all angry and trying to fight, and they have a friend who's holding them back, right? So you need that friend who's holding you back. You don't need to be holding yourself back, right? This is what holding yourself back is, right? Imagine you go to like a Taylor Swift concert, or you go to some, you imagine you go up to The Rock, right? Or you go up to Tom Hanks, and the celebrity, like, and you ask them for their autograph, and the celebrity is like, No, I don't do autographs. No, I don't have time for that. Imagine they did that. Like you'll be like, what an asshole, right? Right? Like it's like, oh, Tom Hanks doesn't care about his fans, or you're gonna be like, oh, The Rock doesn't care about his fans, right? That's what it's gonna be, right? So, but what makes The Rock special? What makes Taylor Swift special is that they really, really love their fans, right? That's why they have a manager, like the friend who's holding them back. They have a manager who's holding them back and saying, that's enough. That's enough. No, we gotta go. We got. So if Taylor Swift is over here and the manager is holding them back, then you can fix that problem. But if Taylor Swift to try to do it himself, like you can't. This is what I mean. You can't play the good cop and the bad cop, right? So what you're trying to do when you're trying to fix your weaknesses, what you're trying to do is you're trying to be the good cop and the bad cop at the same time. Like that doesn't work, right? Because people are gonna be like, "Are you like, oh, you don't care about?" People are gonna see right through that shit, and they're gonna be, "You don't actually care. You don't actually care about this project. You're not actually want to do quality work. All you want to do is just make some money. All you want to do is just do mediocre work and make quick cash. That's all. That's all you care about. That's what's gonna happen, right? But if you're trying your best to go overboard, but somebody else is holding you back, then here's another example. In my agency, like when somebody is like asking for more, right? They're like, "Oh, can you also do this? Can you also do this? Can you also do this?" I would be like, okay, I'll just do everything, right? So eventually we had to put in a process where we couldn't do that, so that I had to tell the client, be like, "Oh, yeah, I really, really, we should do that, but sorry, like we can't do it on this round because it's like we're already booked for the next how many months or blah blah blah." So I said, "Sorry, it's a company policy." So I have to apologize because so I'm apologizing because I'm saying, "Oh, I can't do anything about it," right? Like we ended up setting up meetings like back to back to back to back so that I couldn't go over a minute. Oh, sorry, like I would love to stay and like keep going, but I have another meeting coming up, right? So you have to set up processes to help you balance your weakness, not change your personality. That's the problem. Everybody's trying to change their personality to fix their weakness. And when you keep doing that, what happens is you're becoming lukewarm. Your brand sounds like everyone else. Your business sounds like everybody. And that's why everywhere you look, like I always say this, right? Everyone says, "Oh, we're on time, we're on budget, and we're high quality." Then nobody believes you. That now you sound like everyone else, right? Because when you're everything, then you're nothing. So what I had to do was I had to say, we suck at this, but we're amazing at this, right? Now then you set your apart. You have to admit your weakness, but then tell them why the weakness actually helps you become amazing. I'm trying to come up with another example. Yeah, I mean everybody says, oh, like I had a boss. I had a boss like who was like, "Oh, I'm a big picture guy. I'm a big picture guy," right? And then you know what he does? When we actually work on the project, he gets into the details. He's like, "Oh, son, make that logo bigger. Oh, do this, do that. Oh, can you change this? Oh, can you change that font?" I'm like, "I thought you were the fucking big picture guy. What happened?" Right? So when you're trying to be the big picture guy, oversee everything, and you're trying to be the down detail guy at the same time, then you're nothing. You're neither. Because you're gonna be, when you're trying to be so detailed, you're not gonna know how to see the big picture. And when you're trying to look at the big picture, you're not gonna know how to do the detail. So what happens is you just become half-ass. You half foot in, half foot out. You just become half pregnant. And that's basically what the reason why everybody's half pregnant, the reason why everybody sounds cliche and everybody sounds exactly the same is because everybody's like, "Oh, I can be big picture sometimes, but I can be a perfectionist and I can be down in the details too." Or people also say this, like every time I ask somebody, "Are you an introvert or extrovert?" Right? For me, what makes me like me is that I'm a super, super, super introvert. Right? That's why when I go into a conversation, I can go deep. I can go deep as hell. I can't go into a networking party and schmooze and do the small talk and blah, 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 all of that. But when I have one-on-one conversation, I can go deep. And that's what makes me good at my job. I can go into a meeting with a client and I can sell that client. I can go deep and I can ask them the right questions. Extroverts cannot do that because extroverts are not about the deep conversation. They're more on the small talk and trying to like, trying to please everyone, right? So that's why I say, okay, I suck at networking parties. I suck at these things. When I go out and deal with a lot of people, I lose energy and all of that. But on the other hand, what makes me amazing is that I'm an introvert. Okay. But when I ask most people, you know what they say? Oh, I'm an ambivert. Like literally every fucking entrepreneur I talk to says they're a fucking ambivert. Like, no, I don't believe you. There's not that many ambiverts in the world, okay? Like you're either you're more introvert or you're more extrovert. So when you're saying I'm not an intro, when you say I'm an introvert but I'm also an extrovert, what you're basically saying is I'm neither. Basically, that's I'm lukewarm. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a strength. I can't do this and I can't do this either. That's basically what you're saying. Or, a lot of creative entrepreneurs say, oh, like if I say, are you a creative person or are you more of an orderly person? Right? Are you a creative person or are you more like organized and to-do list and get shit done, right? People are like, oh yeah, I can be creative, but I can also take care of business too. I can also, I can also meet deadlines, and I can also, plan and things like that. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, to be creative means you're impulsive, you're spontaneous, you break plans, and you go against the plans, and if plans like this, but something else come up, then you're like, oh, I'm gonna ignore the plan. I'm gonna do this because all of a sudden I have this creative new idea. That's what it means to be creative. So definition of being creative means you can't be orderly, you can't meet plans, you can't meet deadlines because you're more spontaneous. So if you're saying you're creative but you meet deadlines, basically what you're saying is I'm not creative and I can't meet deadlines either. That's basically what you were saying. Either say I'm the orderly person, I'm the CFO who's gonna make sure we get paid, that we're gonna be able to have cash flow, that we're gonna meet deadlines, then we're gonna do the schedule, we're gonna get the to-do list done. That's who I am. I'm the project manager, I'm the CFO. That's who I am, and that's my strength. And I can't be creative. I'm not good at all of this, but I can get this shit done, right? Or you say I'm creative. I can come up with innovative ideas. I can come up with these. Out of nowhere, I can come up with this creative. I can be more spontaneous, and if the plan doesn't work, I can blah blah blah. But I'm terrible at meeting deadlines. I'm terrible at meeting to-do lists because I don't follow the rules. Right? To be creative, to be spontaneous, to be rebellious means you're not gonna follow the rules. So you're basically saying I'm a rebel who follows rules. What the fuck kind of rebel is that? Right? Or I'm a rule follower. I'm a structure orderly rule follower, right? A good orderly businessman who breaks rules. It's like what the fuck like imagine you're a police officer, you're like a judge who breaks rules, right? Like the whole point of like a CFO is that we want to make sure the numbers are working. We want to make sure there's so if you start breaking rules if you start being creative in your fucking job, then you're going to be a terrible CFO. You're going to be a terrible project manager. So you can't be one and the both. You need to be one and then have somebody else who can manage that part, right? But if you try to do both, then you're doing neither. That's what people don't understand. And the reason why every business is kind of like, none of them is taking off is because everyone's trying to be Steve Jobs, and everyone's trying to be Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos at the same time. You can either be Steve Jobs or you can be Jeff Bezos, but you can't be both. Like if you can either be Steve Jobs or you can be Jeff Bezos, but if you try to be both, you basically become like every other fucking human being on earth. Okay. Marwan, my weakness is I'm quite slow at decision making. I take so long to land a decision. I'm not sure if that makes me perfectionist. So here's the thing, right? If you take long time making decision and you're overthinker, you overanalyze everything, that means that is your strength, right? That means, like people always say, like I even say that, oh, start messy, just do it, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. People are going to hear that and people are going to be like, oh no, I got to change myself. I need to stop thinking. I need to stop over analyzing everything. And I just need to fucking jump in and do it. Right. But you got to take this with a grain of salt, because for me, I also over analyze everything. I overthink everything. Right. But that's the reason why I was able to break down the storytelling and break down exactly what makes a good story and reverse engineer and overthink the shit out of it so that I can teach it a certain way. Okay. It's the reason why, if you look at all my fucking carousels, if you look at all my content that makes you say I never thought of it that way, how do you think I fucking come up with those? How do you think I think of those things that you never thought of, right? Because I overthink and I overanalyze, and that's why I came to this conclusion. That's why I came up with this piece of content that you didn't think about, because I overthink, right? So if I don't overthink and I try to change my personality, then you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be making all the fucking basic cliche. Oh, hey, just do what you love. Just follow your passion. Here are 5 tips you can do to grow Instagram. Oh, use this hashtag. Here are 6 hooks that you can use. Like, I'm going to be coming up with all the fucking boring ass fucking content like everybody else. The reason why I'm able to come up with the content that make you say I never thought of it that way is because I overthink, right? The reason why I'm able to train my designer to be like, okay, when you design, make sure there's this much padding around it. Oh, when you use this font and this font together, this is what happens. When you use, when you have this much space versus this much ratio in space, it's gonna feel more elegant versus more bold. And if you use this color and this color combination, it's gonna feel more fun versus more calm. Like, the reason why I'm able to fucking look at those things and reverse engineer and teach to my designer is because I overthink. So if I change myself, I'm like, okay, from now on, I'm not going to overthink. I'm just going to stop using my brain. I'm going to stop thinking. Then you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be like every other mediocre designer. I'm going to be like every other mediocre storyteller, fucking putting out boring cliche shit. That's what's going to happen. It's the fact that I overthink is what makes me good at my job. That I'm able to reverse engineer shit. I'm able to overanalyze things. Or like, I know people like this, right? For example, when we go into a project and somebody's like, oh, let's do this. Oh, somebody's like, let's do this. Oh, let's do that. I'm able to see the problem that's going to happen 3 steps ahead that nobody else sees, right? Why am I able to prevent or predict problems that other people cannot see? Because I overthink. So most people, what they do is they don't overthink, so they just jump in and do it. And then, so I need somebody who's not a thinker and who's a doer, who's just gonna jump in and force me to just, like, if I'm overthinking and just like trying to make everything perfect and overthink everything and just do that, I need the type of person that says, son, that's gonna push me. I need a boss who's gonna be like, son, no, just push it out the way it is. No, you can't do that. Just do it. So I need somebody to balance me out. I need some sort of a deadline that the client's like, no, I don't care. Just, you have to do it. I need some sort of a deadline to force me to stop, right? So if that's what's happening to you and you keep pushing your deadlines and stuff, what you need is, you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to make an announcement that says, I'm launching this by this date, all right? Or maybe you need to hire a coach. Maybe you need to tell somebody, maybe you need, those people that says, oh, if I don't quit smoking, like, I want you to, like, here's $100, and if I don't quit smoking, I want you to take the 100. Like, you need to come up with a process that forces you to do those things, right? Like, here's the thing, like, if you go to the gym, like, if you say, okay, I'm gonna be disciplined and I'm gonna self-discipline myself to go to the gym every day. How many people actually go to the gym? How many people actually are able to self-discipline themselves, right? But if you hire a trainer and the trainer comes to your house, wakes your fucking ass up and get you out of bed and forces you to go to the gym, then most likely you're going to do it. So then that means you need some sort of external accountability. You need to set yourself accountable. So if I were you, what I would do is, hey, announce to the world, okay, every day at this time, expect it, like I did, right? If I leave it up to me to do a podcast, I would never do a podcast. You know why? Because every week before I do a podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do. I don't want to do this. Like, can we just reschedule this? Can we do this next week? Oh, I'll do it next week. That's what's gonna happen. But I can't, because I already scheduled a podcast with a guest who's gonna show up at that time, at that day, at that time. It's in my calendar. It's already set in stone. So I can't get out of it. So I have to force myself to go, even though everything in my body says I don't want to go. But every time I do it and I go into the podcast, I'm glad I did, because what happens is then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did that. And that's how I got to fucking 46 episodes. There's no way I could have done 46 episodes of podcasts if I just left it up to me without any kind of accountability. So that's what you need to do. Here's another example of like weakness and strength, right? You know, most people do this fucking Q&As. They come on this live, they do Q&A. They're like, oh, son, how do you do this? Oh, here's my answer. Oh, son, how do you do this? Oh, here's my answer. It's like quick, like here, 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 here. And they go through a lot of questions. Okay. I can't do that. I can only answer a few questions in this Q&A because my weakness is that when somebody asks me a question, I don't want to just give you a fucking one sentence answer. I just want I can give you a one sentence. I can be like, oh, just hold yourself accountable, or I can be like, but the thing is, I go deep into that answer. I take this question and I just fucking talk about all different aspects of that question, right? And that's why every question that people ask, it takes me so long to answer. So that's my weakness, but it's also my strength. Because by doing that, I'm able to give you like a complete, more contextual answer that you can really understand, not just on the surface level, but you can really understand, right? So that's my weakness is my strength. Like it's the reason why I'm able to say some of these, give you examples and say some of these things that where most people would have just been like, just accountability. Oh, that's a boring answer. Oh, that's cliche. But the way I explain it, they're like, oh, that's the way Son explained it. That makes sense. It's because I go fucking over explain on everything. It's because I overthink on everything. Whew. Gigi, are you sending me a request? Why are you sending me a request? Let's see what Gigi wants. Okay, Jaishri asked, circle just went down. Do we freak out or stay calm? Holy shit, did it? Let me see. Well, you should never freak out. No matter what happens, you should never. Freaking out is not the answer. Okay, I guess Gigi's not there. Okay, let me get rid of her. How do I get rid of her? Okay, there we go. Bye, Gigi. Oh yeah, the circle did go down. Yeah. So here's the thing, right? What does when something happens, when emergency happens? Oh, I lost all my Instagram deleted my account. Okay, or like, oh, I lost my biggest client, right? Or oh, my circle just went down, right? When those things happen, what do? We freak out? Like, what does freak out gonna do anything? There's like you panicking, you overreacting, you over like that doesn't do anything. It literally solves zero problems. So there's really no point of doing that at all. So I guess yeah, don't freak out. Just hope that it's gonna come back on. And if it doesn't, like this is what I do, right? So actually, I used to fucking flip out all the time. Like I just overreact on every little problem that happens. I overreact. I yell at everybody, and I'm like the worst when it comes when it comes to that. Like that's what actually made me a terrible boss. I was a horrible boss because of that, right? But then what I had to do was I had to use this practice. Every time some shit happens, some disaster happens, I have to in my head, I have to think about, okay, how does this affect me? How does this affect me 3 months from now? How does this affect me a year from now? And 99% of the time, it doesn't affect you at all. Like, okay, circle just went down. Oh fuck! People are trying to get in. The small group members are trying to get in. They're trying to get this. What do I do? Oh, I can't watch this. What do I do? How does that gonna affect Night Owl Nation 3 months from now? Probably not much, but if anything, not at all, right? Or and that can even apply to some of the biggest disasters. Let's say I just lost my biggest client, and because of that, we are 50% of our cash flow is gone, and I have to fire X number of people. Okay, and I have to fire half of my employees, right? That's like a disaster, right? That's like a true disaster. Like, oh fuck, right? Shit hit the fan, right? Now I can go back and I can think about, okay, how's that going to affect my company a year from now? Probably not as much as I think, right? So I always have to like put it that whenever some sort of disaster happens, I have to ask myself, how's it going to affect me? By the way, if you guys have questions, if you guys go into that sticker right here with the question mark, And if there's a question in there that you want to answer first, just go ahead and hit that heart button and then vote it up, because I'm answering from the one that's like the top 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 of the list. Okay, next question. Muka desu. I'm very friendly, so I trust people right away, and then I get upset. I think it's similar to what Rob said, right? Because you're a people pleaser, because you always want to go overboard. You're a pushover, right? So people can easily take advantage of you, right? That's the same problem I have. What you need to do is you need to continue to do that, right? The fact that you're friendly, the fact that you're a people pleaser, the fact that you care so much about helping other people, the fact that you trust everybody is what makes you special. Because there are people out there who's the opposite of that, who doesn't trust anyone, right? Who's not willing to fucking give anybody a shot or anything like that. So the fact that you're like that is your superpower. Because when somebody meets you, be like, oh wow, Muka, she really trusts me. She really put a faith in me. Blah, 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 all of that, right? But at the same time, when you're so trusting like that, like I said, people are gonna take advantage of you. So what you need to do is you need to set up a process where when money is involved, when it's either like you charging money or some, where you have to pay somebody, do not get involved in that. Do not fucking negotiate your own salary. Do not fucking, do not, when you sell, do not negotiate with the client on rates. When you set your pricing, do not set your own pricing. Either hire somebody or partner up with somebody who can see your value, who can see that you're worth more, who can see that you're doing more, so that they can charge those people. You know what happened to me is that's what I did, right? Every time clients like, oh, son, can you just do me a favor? Can you just do this one thing for me? Oh, can you do this one thing for me? Or somebody comes to me, son, oh, we can help you do this, and can you do this for me? You know what Gigi would do? Later on, I found out that she's been charging for all those hours. Like later on, I found out all these invoices, and we were making all of this money, and like clients were paying us for all these extra hours. I was like, oh, what happened there? And she said, oh, I invoiced them. Right? So I found out that, behind my back, in the background, all those times I went overboard and I did all this extra stuff for my clients, she's been charging them. Okay? Or like, when I'm negotiating something, right, or pricing with somebody, and I was like, oh shit, like this client paid that much. I'm like, how did you get them to pay that much? And she's just like, oh, I just charged them. So you need somebody like that who's gonna see your value and charge those people. Or block the people that you don't want to pay. So and Gigi does the same thing, right? Like whenever we trying to plan a vacation, right? Or we're trying to buy something or buy furniture from this company or something like that. I find out like she pays so little for it. I'm like, fuck, how did you how did you save so much money? How were you able to do that? It's like, oh, I just negotiate with them. So there are people out there who's fucking amazing at that. That's what they're good at. They're, just like those, there are people who take advantage of you and take your trust for granted and take advantage of that. There are people out there who's good at taking advantage of that. Do you know what I mean? There are people out there who's good at paying little, saving money. There are people out there that are good at charging more. So you gotta go meet. You know what happens to me all the time? Like, we would buy like a $300 coffee maker from Amazon, right? And then a year later, she'll return that shit to Amazon, and then they'll send us a brand new coffee machine for free, brand new $300 coffee machine for free. And she doesn't have to return the old ones. She talked to the customer service people, so that she doesn't have to return one. Like when we first started Night Owl, we bought like 22 desks, like 22 office desks, and it costed us like $400 each. And when we moved out and we had to sell those desks, she sold those desks for $600 each. We bought those desks for $400 each, and she sold them for $600 each. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, she made a profit off of the desks that we were using. So there are people out there like that. So you need to find them and you need to partner up with them, or you need to hire them, or you need to set up a process so you can do that. And that's why I think, you know, that's why, like, one of the things I'm bad at is, like, you know, I was like, I'll do everything myself. No, I'm gonna do everything. Oh no, I don't. I'll just do that, right? But you gotta remember, if you're in business, any kind of business, even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're a freelancer, no man is an island. Okay, you have to seek the help of other people. If you know that that's your weakness, if you know you're not good at that something, then you need to partner up with, like, everybody so wants to be the boss. Everybody wants to be the CEO. Everybody wants to be the one that makes the decision. So their ego won't let them partner with other people. Their ego is like, no, I want 100% of that. Like, but you have to partner up with other people. You need to work with other people. You need to collaborate with other people who are good at what you're bad at. Because those personalities going to hurt you. But there are other people out there who have the exact opposite personality. You know, like, I'll tell you this, right? You know, before I met Gigi, before Gigi became like before Gigi got involved in the business, and when I was freelancing and I was doing everything myself, I was broke. I was basically living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have any money because I didn't know how to manage money. I didn't know how to charge money. I didn't know how to do any of that because I'm such a nice. So what my mom said is true. I am naive. People are taking advantage of me. And that's the reason why I was broke all the fucking time. Right? Like, I was broke. I was in debt. I was fucking. And then Gigi came into the business. Gigi started managing all the money. And that's when we started making money. That's when we started saving money. So if you're in that place where you're fucking great at what you do, you're great at design, you're great at storytelling, you're great at copywriting, you're great at whatever you do, you're great at coaching. If you're great at what you do, but you fucking suck at making money, then you're gonna have to bring in somebody who's good at making money. Because when you bring in that person, you're gonna make so much more money because you're already good at what you do. You just don't know how to fucking make money. So all you need to do is fix it by bringing somebody else who can make that money, and they can do it. That person who knows how to make money, they suck at copywriting. They suck at design. They suck at all those things. So even though they know how to make money, they don't know what to make money with. So both of you guys have to work together. You need the product person, somebody who's good at that, and then you need this person who's good at organizing, getting paid, and sending invoices and collecting money and having that uncomfortable conversation. Because, like, I don't want to have this uncomfortable, awkward conversation with my clients. Be like, hey, can you pay the invoice? Oh, sorry, I sent you the invoice last week. Can you? I don't want to do that. But you know what Gigi says? Gigi's like, oh, I'll call them. Gigi loves doing that. She fucking loves it. Like, I hate doing that. It's like one of the things that I want to do. Like, it's the thing that I push off every time. But Gigi loves, like, sometimes I have to be like, no, Gigi, like, don't do that. Like, because she actually loves that shit. So you got to find that person. Okay, Muka des. Again, my husband always tells me that I'm very friendly, and that's why people piss me off. I immediately trust. Yeah. So here's the thing. The reason why people piss you off is because when you trust people and you're friendly and blah, 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 and people start taking advantage of you and people start, like, lying to you, or people cheat you and stuff like that, what happens is you start to build resentment. You're like, oh, why are people always lying to me? Why are people always doing this to me? Why, blah, blah, blah. Like, and it's actually a problem that you cause, right? They're doing that to you because they're like, oh, Mukades is going to trust me. Oh, she's so nice. She's so friendly. Oh, so I can lie to her. I can take advantage of her. So you created that situation. And the way you stop it is by not have somebody else deal with those people. You understand what I mean? Like, if in your business, if all your clients are doing that and you're starting to grow resentment for your clients, and you're like, oh, I fucking hate all my clients. My clients are always fucking asking me for more. My clients are always taking advantage of me. Like, they want me to do all of this thing and they don't want to pay for it, blah, blah, blah. Then what's going to happen is you're going to get pissed off at them. You're going to start growing resentment, and they're going to feel that. And what's going to happen is you're going to end up doing all of this work. You're going to do all this shit for generous and do all of this. And then they're still going to hate you. They're still going to hate you because they can feel that resentment. They can feel your anger. They can feel that shit. Okay? So what you need to do is stop dealing with clients. Just have somebody else do all of that. Have somebody else do all the negotiations. Have somebody else take care of all the money and charge them all of that. And all you do is just do your work. That's all you got to do, right? So I don't even set my own fucking schedule. If I have a coaching call, it's automated. Somebody has to go on calendar and pay money and book it, okay? Or if I have somebody has to set up a meeting, they have to set it up with Gigi. I don't even have control over that. So you gotta, and that's the thing. Everybody like, all the entrepreneurs is like, oh, I don't want to give up that control. I want to manage my own calendar. I want to manage my own shit. I want to manage like, no, that's the problem. You have to give up that control. I don't even check my own fucking email. I don't check my own calendar. I don't set my own schedule. Gigi does all of that for me. Because if I did it myself, we would go right back to the old days where we were losing money. So it sounds like what you need is you need to hire somebody. You need to hire a boss. You need to hire your own boss who's going to tell you what to do. That's what you need. That's what a lot of people don't know how to do, right? They don't know how to hire somebody who can boss them around. Everybody wants to hire yes man, be like, oh, just do what I say, do what I say. So all the entrepreneur, what they do is everybody around me is just like, oh yeah, yes, oh yeah, yes sir, okay son, I'll do that, okay. But what you need is somebody who's gonna push back on you. You need somebody who's gonna be like, no son, no, you suck at getting money, so I'm gonna do it. Like you need somebody to become your boss. And essentially, every one of your employees are actually your boss. You have to think of it like that. It's because if you hire somebody to do that shit and you don't let them do their job, then what's the point of hiring them, right? If you partner with somebody who's gonna do that and charge the clients and do all of that, and you don't let them do their job, then what's the fucking point? So you have to not only hire somebody like that or partner with somebody like that, but you also have to let them do their job. You have to let them boss you around. You have to let them stop you. You know what I mean? Okay. Pope Powell asks, how do you balance multiple weaknesses if you have business partners, for example? Yeah, I think I have multiple weaknesses, and usually it's like the same kind of person that are like conscientious. Like there's only like few personality trait, right? Like openness, conscientiousness, what is it? Like extroversion, introvert, what's the other one? Agreeableness, neuroticism. Like there's only a few traits. And usually, for example, people who tend to be open tend to be low in conscientiousness. So I'm very open. So therefore I'm low in conscientiousness, right? Like people who are gonna be like people who hate conflicts, they're gonna be more trusting, they're gonna be more nice. And people who can go and collect those money and things like that, they're gonna be more conscientious. They're more, they're a little bit less open. Because like I'm so open-minded that when people come in, oh son, can you just do this? Oh son, we're struggling with this, and we don't have any money, so can you give me a discount? I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense, and I give him a discount. But Gigi will be like, no, I don't care. I don't care. Like this is our policy, and you have to pay that. Like, so they're like, if you're so creative in this one, if you're such a creative, open person that you're like this in one way, then what you need to do is your finances have to be fucking sharp as a knife. Do you understand what I mean? Because you can't fuck around with that. Like if you're too creative, you can't fuck around with money, because then you're gonna lose all your money. So you need somebody who don't fuck around with money. So yeah, how do you balance it? Like most likely, you'll figure it out. Most likely, like the somebody who has the opposite traits of you are doing all of that. Like for example, like why don't you put in the chat what your weaknesses are? You say you have multiple weaknesses. Oh, by the way, I'll say this. Most people that think that they have multiple weaknesses actually don't have multiple weaknesses. Your fucking brain likes to think that you have multiple. Your ego likes to think that you have multiple weaknesses, but it's not true. It's because people might be like, oh, I have imposter syndrome. I'm a people pleaser. I'm not confident. oh, I'm too naive, I'm too all of that. Everything that I say, you're gonna be like, oh, that's my weakness. That's my weakness. Oh yeah, that's my weakness too. No, it's not. It's just that you think it's your weakness because everybody has that. Everybody has imposter syndrome. Everybody has confidence issues. Everybody has anxiety sometimes. Everyone has these problems sometimes, right? The question is, are you more or less than average, right? Are you more of an imposter than average person? Are you more of a giver than most people? Are you more stubborn than or less stubborn than most people? Like that, are you more or less impatient than average person? So what you have to do is, it's not that those are all your weaknesses. That's not what it is. You have to figure out, what's the average? And am I above or below average? That's what you need to look at. And the best way to figure that out is to ask the people around you. Actually, you don't even have to fucking ask them, because they're all your family, your friends, the people that are closest to you are already probably telling you that all the time already. You just don't want to fucking believe it. You know how many times my mom is like, all throughout my life, my mom's always been like, son, you trust people too much. Oh, you're so naive. You're always like, people are always taking advantage of you. My mom used to say that my whole fucking life. And Gigi says that to me all the time. All my friends says to me all the time. I don't want to believe it, because I don't like to believe that I'm a chump. I don't like to believe that I'm like that. So I don't want to believe it. But the truth is, if everybody around you is telling you that, that means that's your weakness. But let's say you feel like an imposter, right? Or let's say you say, my weakness is that I'm too trusting, or my weakness is that I'm too stubborn. But nobody around you is telling you that. That means you're not. It means you think you are, but you're not. If you say, "Oh, I'm very open-minded. I'm too open-minded. I'm too like I'm so bad at like meeting deadlines, and I'm so bad at doing that." But if nobody else around you is telling you that, that means you're not. Because if you really were more than the average, everybody around you would be telling you that. So pay attention to what everyone else is saying about you. Self-awareness is not what you think about yourself, because your version of how you think you are is the most fucking biased version. It's your ideal version of yourself that you like to be. That doesn't mean that that's the real you. The real you, if you really want to be self-aware, the real you is what other people are telling you you are. Because most likely, your people that are always around you, when they keep telling you the same shit over and over and over again, most likely you are that. There's no smoke where there's no fire. So as much as you don't like, if somebody's like, if somebody keeps telling you like, hey, why you always got to be so stubborn, right? Why are you so stubborn? Like, hey, just let it go, son. Just let it go. Why you got to be so? If somebody's constantly telling you that, maybe you're stubborn. There's a reason why they tell you that. Okay, next question. The lemon narrative. My weakness is I'm talkative and loud. So yeah, maybe like you're talkative and loud, so you like to get the party going. You're like, because there are people who never talk, right? So that means if you're talkative and loud, and that means that's your strength. Maybe you should be a salesperson. Maybe you should be the person that are on camera and just like always talking, right? You should have a podcast, right? Like, you got to double down on that strength. Like, you might look at being talkative and loud as a weakness, but there are jobs out there. There are jobs out there where it helps to be talkative and loud, right? Maybe you should be a public speaker. Maybe you should be an MC. Maybe like when we do a Sunday service, or when people do these Zoom calls, and when people do these webinars and something like that, sometimes I go to them and it's like so fucking awkward because the person just like are so boring or calm, and it's like there's no lively to it, right? But in those kind of cases, I would love somebody who's like, in my wedding, we had an MC who was like so good at that. Who's like, he's hyping everybody up. He's like pumping everybody up, and he's really creating this energy in the room, right? So somebody like that would be really, really helpful to have there, right? So yeah, I mean, like, I think salespeople is another good thing, right? because some people are not. Some people like hate small talk. Some people hate talking. So when I mean the talkative and loud is kind of like there's many different you know different layers to that, but yeah, like I think that then you need to go find a career where you are that's your thing. You know what I mean? That's gonna benefit you, because there are like whatever you think your weaknesses are, there are people out there who would love to have that personality, who's like, oh my gosh, like your weakness is like other people consider that strength because they don't know how to do it. There are people that are out there shy, that never speaks their opinion. They're too agreeable. They're such an introvert that they'll never not even say a word. They'll sit in the meeting, right? Then like having you in that room will be helpful for that person, right? Because like all the things that they don't say, you can say it for them. Do you understand what I mean? So yeah. Hi, Lyra. Okay. The drawing board. My weakness is that my clients love my jobs, but when I need to do content for my own business, I'm a mess. So, okay. This is one of those things that's not your weakness. You think that that's your weakness because, like, for example, like that means you're not disciplined enough, right? That means you're not like you can't hold yourself accountable, right? But I would ask you this. Does everyone around you, all your family, your friends, do they also tell you that? Do they also say, hey, you're so good at doing stuff for other people, but you don't know how to do it yourself? Like, do other people tell you that? Because most likely, what you're experiencing is not really a weakness. It's something that everyone does. Everyone is great at holding themselves accountable when other people hold themselves accountable, but everyone suck at holding themselves accountable. It's the reason why 90% of people sign up for a fucking gym and they never go. It's the reason why 70% of people sign up for Night Owl Nation and they don't fucking go to the small group meeting. It's because they fucking suck at holding themselves accountable. It's the reason why people hire a coach. It's the reason why people hire a trainer. It's the reason why they go to a yoga class instead of doing yoga at home. It's because they fucking suck at holding themselves accountable. Everyone does that, not just you. So it's not just because you do that doesn't necessarily mean it's your weakness. What you need to figure out is, are you more or less accountable of yourself than most average person? Most likely, if everyone around you is not telling you that, you're probably not. So this is why I said, don't try to figure out your own weakness, because then you're going to be wrong. Because in your mind, everything's a weakness. Oh, I hate everything about myself. I hate myself. Like, that's what's going to happen. So don't try to come up with your own weakness. Pay attention to what everybody else says about you all the time. Like, hey, son, you're always like this. You're always so stubborn. Son, you're always so naive. Like, why are you always so naive? Stop being so naive. You need to stop doing that. Like when multiple people have told you that, most likely that's your weakness, not what you think it is. Okay, next. Charaveri Pankuri. It's a long name. Okay, how do you balance multiple weakness if you have business partner? Okay, like I think you said the same thing, right? I don't understand the context of this question. Maybe you can give me in the comments. You can give me more context. I don't know what you mean. Like, first of all, let me break this down. I would argue you don't have multiple weaknesses. What most of you guys, if you think you have multiple weaknesses, really dig deep inside and see, is that really multiple weaknesses? Or is it just me that's thinking it's multiple weaknesses? Because if everybody around you is telling you, because I'm sure people around you are not telling you, oh, you suck at this, you suck at this, you suck at this, you suck at this, you're always like this, you're always like this, stop doing this, stop doing that. Like, I bet you not. There's probably only one or two things that people say that about you. So hone into that. So most likely, if you think you have multiple weaknesses, you don't really have multiple weaknesses. You just think you do. Okay. And then if you have business partner, for example, I don't know. I don't know what that. Okay, so if you have a business partner, then what? Like maybe you're. This is another mistake that I see people make. They hire they most people like to work with other people that are like them, right? So people who are like deep thinkers, they want to work with other people that are deep thinkers. People who are creative, they want to work with other people that are also creative, right? People that are open-minded, they want to work with other people that are open-minded. People that are hustlers, work hard, they want to work with other people that are hustlers and work hard. The problem there is if you're partnering up with somebody that's like you, that's a fucking waste. Like you're already good at that. Why do you need another person that's good at the same thing that you're good at? Because your weakness is already this. So why do you want to bring on another person who has the same weakness as you? So if you want to partner up with somebody, you want to hire somebody, hire people that are the opposite of you. If you're a perfectionist and you're always missing deadlines, hire somebody who likes to do things half-assed but just get it done on time, right? If you're the mediocre person that just gets shit done, then hire somebody who's a perfectionist. So you need to work with your if your business partner is not working out for you, most likely it's because they're the same person as you. You have to replace your business partner with somebody who's the opposite of you. Otherwise, you can't balance yourself out. Do you understand what I mean? So I don't know if that was the question or not, but yeah, feel free to reiterate that if you want. Okay, Denora, my husband says I'm inconsistent, but I have people around me say that I'm an overthinker. Maybe the second is origin of the weakness. Inconsistent, overthinker. I mean, maybe you're both, right? Because I'm sure, like your husband, and okay, when you say people around me tell you that, like I would only listen to somebody, who really knows you well. Because unless they really know you well, like your mom, like I'm willing to bet that your husband knows you better than people at work, right? So if people at work are saying, "Hey, you're an overthinker," then you should go to your husband and ask them, "Hey, do you think I'm an overthinker?" Right? Or something like that, right? But yeah, inconsistency comes from, I think, in my opinion, inconsistency comes from openness. And I guess maybe it is related to overthinking, right? So if you're talking about openness versus conscientiousness, right? Conscientious people, they come up with a plan and they stick to the plan. Even if something is off or something like that, they're not open-minded. So that's why most conservative people, like most conservatives, are conscious. They don't want things to change. They just want things to be consistent and stay. They want to stick to the plan, and they just want to follow the rule, and they want to get it done, right? On the other hand, the ones that are more open-minded, more progressive, more liberal, those people, they always want change. Oh, it's like, oh, is there a better way to do this? Oh, is there a better way to do this? Oh, should we change this up? Should we change that up? And things like that, right? That's why at Night Owl Nation, we're constantly improving. We're constantly changing shit up. We're so fucking inconsistent that people find it annoying because we're changing the rules all the time, right? But that inconsistentness, that rule changing, it actually comes from overthinking, because I'm like, oh, wait, that's wrong. Okay, the way we're doing this is wrong. Oh, we need to come up with a better way. So you change it, right? So if that's the case, then you need somebody who's more you need somebody who can bring some consistency into your life, right? So every time you want to change something, like you really need to, somebody really has to stop you and be like, okay, do we really need to change that, or is it good enough, right? Something like that, right? So, yeah, that's what I said. Because like, what happens is when you're such an overthinker and when you see flaws everywhere, right? You're overthinking and you see flaws like, oh, that's not going to work 10 steps ahead. Oh, that's not going to work. What happens is you try something, you're like, oh, that's not going to work. I'll change my niche. Oh, try something. Oh, that's not going to work. I change my niche. So you can't really build momentum, right? Because in order for you to build momentum to grow, you have to stick to one thing and you have to be consistent, right? So even if you think that's wrong, even if you think there's something wrong with that, you still have to stick with it. And people that are like constantly overthinking, constantly like seeing all the flaws, all the different they see the 20 different things that can go wrong with it. They're gonna be like, nah, that's not gonna work, and they're gonna give up, and they're gonna give up, they're gonna give up. So yeah, you need somebody to balance you out so that you don't constantly make changes. You don't constantly change plans all the time, because like I say, running a business is like you're steering a ship, right? So when you make a change, it's going to take a lot of time for that to come to effect. So you can't keep making changes. Every time you notice something, you can't change, and you notice something, you change. But when you're overthinker, you're going to continue to notice things, and you're going to continue to change. So that's a problem. Follow you? Hell no. Anyone who asked me to follow you, I will never, ever, ever fucking follow you. Okay? Like, even if I was gonna follow you, as soon as you ask me to follow you, I'm not gonna follow you. There. Like, and this is gonna go to fucking everyone. Like, people that are like, you, if you're so fucking entitled that you think somebody should follow you, like, most likely that person will not follow you. Okay? Like, maybe I would have followed you if you asked a good question, or if you just DM me and we had a good conversation and I looked at your content, maybe I would have followed you just to support you. But because you asked me to follow you, I'm never going to follow you now. Okay. Always shred home air. What happens when you feel like you've reached that end with your creative thinking, and there's an extended period of time where you feel like you just can't contribute to a certain thinking? What is that about, and is there something I can do about it? That's a very, very broad question, so I don't know how to answer that. But here's the thing about creative thinking. Like, you don't reach a dead end to your creative thinking. That's not how creative thinking works, right? People think that, oh, you know, a lot of young designers, artists, creative people, they're like, son, my designers say that, like, son, you can't rush art. I can't just sit there and come up with an idea. Well, the thing is, you can. You can just sit there and come up with an idea if you try hard enough. The thing is, you don't fucking try hard enough, right? If you don't have an idea about writing a story, if you don't have an idea for design, or you don't have an idea for something, if you sit there and you fucking do nothing for hours and you force yourself to work on this, your brain will come up with ideas. The reason why it doesn't come up with ideas is because in the 5 minutes into, you're like, oh, I don't have an idea. Oh, let me go check YouTube. Oh, let me go check Instagram. Like, you're not letting your brain come up with ideas. The way you come up with ideas is not by going and looking at other like, the way you don't get, like, I don't understand this shit. People are always saying that, oh, I need ideas. Let me go look at YouTube and get inspiration. Oh, let me go look at this and get inspiration. That's not coming up with the idea. That's you trying to copy other people's idea. That's what that is. So if you want to come up with your own idea, you got to make yourself bored. Like, if you fucking lock yourself in a room without any internet, without any distraction, and there's nothing to do in that room, like, you literally have to sit there and fucking be bored, like, all fucking day long. Just be bored. Ideas will start flowing out of you. That's how brains work. Your brain hates doing work. Your brain hates thinking, and your brain hates doing all of that shit. So what your brain wants to do is, your brain wants to go grab that phone and start checking Instagram. Your brain wants to fucking grab that phone and start watching YouTube, to start turning on Netflix. That's what your brain wants to do, because your brain wants to keep yourself entertained. But as soon as you take all the distraction away and you bring on boredom where you have nothing to do, your brain can't handle it. So your brain is going to start using it, and it's start going to automatically come up with ideas, and your brain is going to start working and come up with all those ideas. So if you don't have ideas, just stare at the fucking blank page and just keep at it. Just get yourself bored, and eventually you'll come up with an idea. That's how creativity works. That's how ideas work. The problem nowadays with most people is that they don't even have like a fucking 2-hour period where they're not distracted. Your brain is like constantly getting this fucking dopamine hits all the fucking time that your brain cannot handle it. You need to give your brain some rest and give it nothing to do, and let your brain get bored. then it's just gonna put itself to work, right? Okay, Adrian's weakness, promoting my weakness too, promoting my. If you so yeah, if you're too humble, right? If you're such an imposter, you're too humble, you're too modest, and you can't sell yourself, you can't promote yourself, then you need to hire somebody who's gonna sell you, right? It's the reason why fucking most actors, most talent, like most musicians, all those people, that's why they have agents. Like if all those people know how to fucking sell themselves, they would sell themselves, right? So why are they fucking paying 15% commission to all these agents? Because those agents know how to sell you better than you. So if you don't know how to promote yourself, you don't know how to sell yourself, then you need to find somebody who can do it for you. Like yeah, I mean that's what I would say. It's like, so what you gotta do is you just gotta be you. You gotta be all you, be authentic, and like go all in on being you, and then people will see that and they will react to that. But as soon as it comes time for a contract, as soon as it comes time for money, negotiating, all of that shit, somebody else needs to do that for you, because it sounds like you're not a good agent for yourself. So you need to hire an agent who can get you the most bang for the buck, you know? Asking for help. Okay, so I'm going to ask you again. First thing, number one, is that really your weakness? Are people around you saying that, right? Are people around you saying that, son? Like people around me actually tell me that, son. Like you need to let other people help you. You need to you can't do it all yourself, right? So number one is, are people around you really telling you that? Is it really true, or is it you're the only one who thinks so? Because almost every entrepreneur I know in the beginning struggles with that. That doesn't mean it's necessarily their weakness, because most people don't ask for help because most people have too much pride. Most people think that they have so much ego that they think that nobody, like every entrepreneur I talk to, every fucking, especially creative entrepreneurs I talk to, says this: oh no, nobody can do this as well as me. Like they hire they don't hire designers, and they don't outsource their designs because it's like, oh no, they're not going to be able to do it like the way I do. Like nobody can edit this video like I can. Like, that's your fucking ego speaking, right? So what I would ask is, are you really like that, or are you not, right? Because some people can't get themselves to fix that, but most people can actually fix it. Like if you run your business for 3 years and you keep fucking getting smashed over and over and over because you're not asking for help and it's not working out, you'll eventually learn. But some people can't. It means that's their real weakness. Then for those people, like they can't be a business owner, like managing people and delegating work. Like those people truly have to be like solopreneurs, right? Kind of like Rand Paul, right? Like, is it Rand Paul or Paul Rand or something like that? The logo designer. Like there are some designers out there who doesn't know how to manage a team, and so therefore cannot start an agency. But they can charge fucking $100,000 for designing a logo because they're that good, right? Then so you got to really ask yourself: am I an artist? Am I the talent, or am I the entrepreneur that can manage the talent? Right? Which one are you really? So yeah, you have to. Your personality has to figure that out. Okay, this is gonna be the last question. Imin Med, how do you find people like Gigi? You know what? I bet you already know somebody like that. Most of you guys. Like the way you find business partner, the way you find high level employees is not by putting a job posting out there and like that's not how you like these people that are going to be really, really, dedicated and good at their job. When I hire people, I don't give a fuck how many years of experience they have. I don't give a fuck how what their portfolio is. I don't give a fuck if they don't have the attitude. What you're looking for is the right attitude. I don't give a shit if you worked as a designer for 6 years. I'd rather hire somebody who has no experience at all, who has the right attitude. Because in 6 months, I can get that person become a better designer than the guy with the 6 years of experience who doesn't have the attitude. So it's all about the attitude, right? So how do you find people like Gigi? You don't find your key employees, your key team members, you don't hire them. Nobody, there's not fucking company in the world where they hire their key members, okay? You cultivate them, you train them, you grow them. That's how you find them. So you have to find people that have the right attitude, young people that have the right attitude. You train them, and over time they become that person. So don't try to just go fucking hire people, hire somebody, plug it in, and boom, that's it, problem solved. That's not how this business works. Like if you're gonna like work with people, you're gonna manage people and things like that, you have to learn how to train people, you have to learn how to be patient, you have to learn how to work with that person, and you need to learn how to build chemistry with that person, build relationship with that person, and all of that takes time. And it might take you years. It might take you 2 years. You might hire somebody. 2 years later, you realize, oh, this is not the right person, and you're going to have to try somebody else. But it's so the simple answer is this: how do you hire core members that's going to contribute and make a big impact in your business? Well, the answer is you don't hire them. You grow them. You train them. You mentor them, and that's the answer. All right, y'all. Thank you, everyone. Sorry if I didn't get to your question today. Next week, I'll see you guys on Thursday again. And until then, see ya. Cheers. Bye.